Week 15 of Sunday Scaries around the NFL with yours truly, Nutmeg 2 Palmetto. And I am rejoined this week by Bucs McGee.
I have come home. I am back from my sabbatical. I should go back on another one after today. Once baseball season starts, I'm ready to go. Ready to go.
Which NL East team are you switching gears to? Are you gonna go? Are you gonna go Braves,
honestly,
Nets, Nationals?
Honestly, I don't know. I have no idea at this point. Philly may have a place in my heart. They got Trey now, the smoothest slider in the game. Right. I don't know. Anything's better than the 6-8 fiasco crapshoot that is known as Tampa. I'm done. Hey man, win the division. Get your one home game. Get demolished by Dallas. Hey, whatever. I'm good. I'm good with it.
That's right, silly me. I forgot you are Trey Turner's biggest fan, of course.
Trey Turner is the greatest shortstop known to man. Everyone better put respect on that man's name. That man is smooth. When you watch him slide, he's just silk. Like I can watch videos of him sliding all day. That would, like, if I was having a bad day at work, I could put that on loop and I'd be great after an hour. He just like slides in and then just stands up. It's all just one motion.
It's like eye candy.
It really is. It's like if it's winter time and I'm sliding on ice and I just get up. It's so smooth. It's silky, man. I love Trey. Trey's my man.
Base running on skates.
They overpaid for him, but hey, man, Philly fans love that man. Give that man love.
That's great.
Give that man love.
Well, it is still a little bit cold to start baseball season, so let's talk what happened today. And I know our format is normally we start with the 1 o'clock, so we work our way down, but I have to start off the show with addressing 3 games all in one shot because I don't know. I cannot wrap my brain around why no one on God's green earth wants to win the NFC South. I mean, like, part of me wants to give your Bucs a little bit of a pass because of the 3 teams in contention, they had by far the toughest opponent. But I like the way that game went down. I don't know if I even want to give a pass. Like all 3 teams, and now it's basically 4 because now New Orleans has somehow played their way into contention as well.
They did, but the Bucs hold like I think every tiebreaker. They've beaten all of them, so it's like
you did not beat Carolina.
No, but we do have them. We can't split with them on New Year's. So
yes.
So and they lost it today. So it's it is what it is. I want to call it the Tony Romo effect. The first half it was like 17-3. Tony's talking about how great it is. They're doing this, they're doing that. Second half, absolute shib show. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Never. I have never seen anything like that. Freaking Cincinnati, that whole freaking second half, they were in Bucs territory. Like, why even bother? Like, it was horrible. Like, just honestly, if I'm the Bucs, I'm telling Tom, thank you for your 3 years of service. Time for you to move on. Tell Blaine Gabbert to kick rocks. Let me see what Kyle Trask has, and we move on. Because let's be realistic. You're wasting Mike Evans' best years, Chris Evans' best years. I don't even know if Lenny really wants to be there. I think he got paid a little more than he should have. I don't know if Lenny wants to be there. That defense, those guys are going to get mad and start leaving left and right. So let's just call it what it is. The experiment worked. You got your title. Let's move on.
Right.
The frustrating part is for a team with so much talent to play this bad, there's more to it. So yeah, they'll somehow win the division. This is exactly what's going to happen. They're going to win the division. They'll play Dallas. For some reason they'll smack Dallas around. That's what'll happen. They'll whoop Dallas. Everyone's going to be like, oh, here we
Brady's
go.
back,
Here
Brady's
goes the
back.
run. And then whoever they play next, they're going to get whopped. And then that's it. So let's just be honest. Okay. That's what's going to happen.
I could see that happening.
Cameron Brate's going to have 10 catches for like 180 yards and 3 touchdowns. You ask anybody outside of Tampa who Cameron Brate is, not many people know he's a tight end. No one's going to know it. But he's going to look like a superstar. Get out of here, man. That team is a hot mess. I can't. I think what irritates me is because there's so much talent. If they were just bad, I'd be like, all right, they're just horrible.
Yeah. Sometimes watching a bad team and being a fan of a bad team is almost better because you know you're not going to expect anything.
Exactly. There is no expectation. You're like, if we can be competitive, all right, cool. You know? No. With this team, you're sitting there going, no, we should be whooping. And nope, just can't do nothing right. Can't do nothing right.
So to recap that game, Tampa was up 17-3 after the half, got completely blown out in the second half, 31-6. And Atlanta was down 14-3 at halftime, 21-10 after 3. They wound up scoring plus a 2-point conversion in the fourth quarter to pull within 3, but they still lost. So now both Atlanta and New Orleans are at 5-9. The Bucs are 6-8. Carolina looking like they could overtake Tampa with the tiebreaker that they currently have, absolutely pooped their pants against the abysmal Pittsburgh Steelers today. So now they're 5-9. So somehow Tampa is still holding on to this first place game.
It's so depressing. It's like, how do you brag about that? Yeah, man, we're number 1 in our division, 6-8. Woo woo! Like you can't. It's sad. It really is. Like I'd rather be the Texans. You know, this is ridiculous. What's gonna happen is yes, one of those 3 other teams will probably overtake Tampa. That's just what it looks like.
Yeah.
But the world is a crazy place, so you know that's probably not going to happen. But it wouldn't surprise me.
You know what's going to happen, don't you? We've been talking offline about going to the Brady's final regular season game in Atlanta. You know exactly what's going to happen. They're going to be tied the last week of the season. That game's going to get flexed to Sunday night.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, Tom, 35 for 52, 460 yards, 5 touchdowns. All of a sudden, the Magic's back, right? Just to, go shellac Dallas and then get mollywopped by, Philly or something. Whatever, man. Whatever.
I was going to chime in on the games played prior to today a little bit later on. But since Drew chimed in, beer for breakfast, facts for snacks with Go Niners, baby. Let's talk about the Niners' performance on Thursday night. A little bit closer than it probably should have been, but still covered. Beat the Seahawks around. What's the trajectory for the Niners in the scope of the NFC playoffs? Right now they can't keep a quarterback healthy, but yet they still win.
I'm gonna tell you something. What's his Purdy, right?
Brock Purdy.
All right. The man is good. I'm gonna be honest, man. The way in that game, the way he moved around in that pocket, he played like he just didn't care. He's like, I'm the third guy up, so I don't care. I'm gonna make my mark. I honestly think that if they go deep, and I think they will. I think right now, I would take them over the Eagles. And the reason is I think the Niners are more battle tested. Their schedule was harder, and I think they're battle tested. So this guy's going to finish the season. He's going to have no fear. I'll tell you, if they make it to the Super Bowl and they win it, he's going to be the guy.
Yeah.
I think he's the guy because there's no way you can go back to, well, Jimmy's gone.
Jimmy's
and
definitely
you can't
gone.
go back to Trey. No, you can't. You're going to ride this kid. This kid is going to be the greatest thing San Fran has seen since Montana. If he brings them a title.
It's gonna be the new story of Brady.
Brady 2.0.
West Coast Brady.
He wasn't a sixth rounder. He was Mr. Irrelevant.
That's right.
And he wins that's what he was, Mr. Irrelevant. And he wins them a title. Nope, that guy's your starter. Yeah. And he has command of that offense, and they play well.
And if that were to play out, that would actually be really good for the Niners as far as getting trade value back for Trey, because he probably still has high trade value, and you can probably get a lot for him.
He definitely does, because I think you're going to have teams that are looking for quarterbacks. Tampa being one of them. No, be honest. Everyone knows Brady's a free agent. Every rumor known to man is out there. Raiders, they've even said the Niners. They've said he's even going to go back to New England and, the last hurrah. So if some team is going to give you something for Trey, then why not? Jimmy's going somewhere. Jimmy's going to make some dough somewhere.
You gotta be careful. That's why you got to be careful not to talk too much smack about the Niners situation, because your quarterback next year down in Tampa could be one of these two guys.
Oh, shoot. You know what? The lesser of the two evils is Jimmy G. Now, the only problem is that Byron Leftwich is going to dumb him down just as much as he tried to dumb down Tom. So, it can't get any worse. Really. Can't get any worse.
And I think that's a very good point about the adversity that San Francisco has faced, because they completely changed over their running game. Debo, this do-it-all wide receiver halfback player, he's been in and out of the lineup. They bring in CMC, who's been pretty much a godsend since he walked in the door. And with all this quarterback nonsense,
exactly,
they've really faced a lot of hardship in the season so far, and Philadelphia has not faced any.
No, unfortunately, Philly's schedule is soft. Let's be realistic. Philly's schedule is not the greatest. I'll give them credit. You win you don't pick your schedule. You play the games they give you. I get it. But, bragging that you're 12-1 and all this doesn't mean anything. I think sometimes you need to get smacked in the mouth, figure out what it is so you're ready, because let's say come playoff time, they're down by a touchdown or two. They haven't really faced it that much. They faced it to lesser teams and have come back just purely based on talent. But if they're facing the Niners like that Niners defense is going to clamp on them and say, nope, not happening.
That's right. I mean, today they played the Bears, and the Bears are awful. Bears are absolutely awful.
No, they're Justin Fields' legs, and that's it.
Yeah, and Eagles were given 9 in this game. I'm thinking, all right, this is an easy cover. Aside from the Colts game and that nonsense against Washington on Monday night, the Eagles have been really good against the spread this year. So I'm thinking this is an easy win. And they struggled a lot, but they did pull up 12 in the fourth quarter. So I'm like, okay, I got this. There's still 3 minutes left. That's a lot of time, but the Bears are awful. They should be okay. No, of course. Bears have to score a freaking touchdown and wind up covering this game. You can get out of this game against the Bears and not blow it. But if you're playing the Niners, if you're playing even Minnesota, and we'll get to that garbage show in a couple of minutes, but teams like that, Dallas, even Washington, or, God forbid if the Giants somehow make a way to backdoor their way in, like any of these other teams, they're all better than Chicago.
Yeah.
If Philadelphia does what they did today against any of these teams, they might not survive.
No, they won't. And it's going to be a problem. And then everyone's going to be like, oh, well, they had such a great regular season. What happened? They played down. They played down to the talent who they play against, and they weren't held accountable. Like this team has talent, but they haven't been up against a quality opponent and had to dig themselves out of a hole enough. So, yeah, if they run up against the Niners in the playoffs, all those guys are pretty much playoff experience. Those guys know. All right. Now, Philly's got a decent defense and such, but that rush is nothing like the Niners.
No.
they're not going to get after Birdie like they'll get against freaking Jalen. So I think Philly really needs to make sure that they tighten everything up, because come playoff time, it may not be pretty.
Yeah.
It may not be pretty.
They're gonna be doing some soul searching during that bye week.
Yep, they'll be sitting with Brady in Tampa trying to figure out life.
Yeah. especially if Dallas has a complete collapse, which we know they're prone to do in the playoffs, and Tampa winds up in the divisional round with Philadelphia. Philadelphia's sitting there like,
yeah, exactly. But that's how that's how it's going to happen, because Dallas, they're just pretty. They're like that sports car you buy that has nothing on the inside. The engine is basic, but it looks pretty, and you're like, wow, that's what I want. But then when you take it on the Autobahn or something, it runs as fast as a Kia Sorento or something. It does nothing. It does nothing. And for all the Philly fans out there, I'm sorry, no disrespect. You guys, putting up numbers. You guys are like a fantasy guy's dream. Okay? But I'm being honest. When push comes to shove, you guys, I don't know if you have it. I don't know if you have it down a touchdown with like a minute and a half left in the fourth quarter. I don't think so.
No,
Kia owners, no disrespect. Kias are nice cars. No disrespect.
Good economical family vehicle.
Hey, if it works for you. But can't put lipstick on a pig. I don't know. Just a bitter Bucs fan. What do you want? Let me have it.
Wayne's beer delivery wants to know what he missed. I think he missed our calling our shot to watching a play-in game in week 18 against the Bucs and the Falcons.
That's it right there. That's going to be the best game of the week right there. Who really wants the NFC South? All right, I guess I'll take it. It's like begging an employee to work Black Friday. Please, I'll buy you lunch. Like, come on. You're like, fine, I'll do it. Like, that's what it is. The NFC South is like, all right, if I have to.
I'll buy you lunch.
It's like begging your kid to do their chores. All right, I'll do it. That's what it is.
Moving on. Everyone's favorite little comeback story of this season, the Detroit Lions, MCDC's crew.
Man, I love those boys. I watched that game with anticipation. I loved that game. Jared Goff, baby. Heart and soul.
Rallying their way back to 7-7 on the season, taking down the reclaimed MILF Hunter-led New York Football Jets. Jets just end the season. They're back to being the Jets of old at this point. I mean, we really thought, go back a few weeks, we really thought the Jets had turned the corner, but
I believe they did when, Mike White was quarterbacking. I thought that was it. Here's the deal. They weren't horrible, right? They weren't horrible. MILF Hunter's first game back. I can't fault him. He made some plays. I think he was better. His footwork and things like that, he was better than he was in the past. But the Lions are on a mission. The Lions are there. They know that no one believes in them, so they don't care. They're there to ruin seasons. And if they can backdoor their way into the playoffs and make some noise, they're gonna be something hard down the road. So all the glory to the Lions.
I hope they do backdoor their way in, because I'd rather see them backdoor their way in than the Packers.
What do you mean? You mean the greatest quarterback known to man? You don't want to see him in the playoffs?
No, absolutely not. I don't.
Mr. Do-It-All? Schmuck.
Wayne got a nice little comment in here on the NFC South. Oh, no, nobody wants the NFC South. No one.
No. but it doesn't matter. Whoever comes out of there is beating the Dallas. So
That's right.
that's it. That's all America wants. It's like, all right, who's going to get rid of Dallas because we're annoyed with them? Whoever's in the South, just do your job. Take your payoff and move on.
That's right.
That's it.
Because, I mean, to me, it's always like the Cowboys are always like the Yankees, where all the league wants is for them to get in the playoffs because they'll draw the eyeballs and then boop, go out the door, go disappear.
Yeah. It's like you think you're good, but you're not.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you do? I don't get it. All that talent. Say it's like Tampa. All that talent, but you can't do nothing right. You can't do anything right when it counts.
That's right.
Whatever.
Speaking of these Cowboys, these massively disappointing Cowboys, I'm thinking this is another gambler's nightmare, this game today.
I wouldn't have touched it.
Given four to the Jags on the road. The now 6-8 Jags. They're up 21-7.5. Looking pretty good to cover. They got outscored in the second half. Let's do the math. 27-13.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Jags, Trevor Lawrence looking like he's back in Clemson. Over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. Got him to overtime. And this perennial disappointment of an NFL franchise lost the game. They've honestly, at this point, just bring back Cooper Rush after that play. I'm being a little.
No, you know who needs to come back.
I'm being a little facetious, I know, but.
You know who needs to come back.
Ben DiNucci.
XFL, future XFL star. Get ready, folks. Get your DiNucci jerseys. Come on. You should have known this was going to be a trap game. Come on. Dallas, no. You can't trust them for nothing.
Well, I mean, I'm just irritated because, granted, for 3 out of 4 quarters, it was a competitive game. But they blew the doors off Indianapolis in primetime a few weeks ago. And then they almost blow a game to Houston, the worst team in the league this year. And then they lose on a pick 6 today to Jacksonville. Like, why? Why are the Colts Vegas's continual whipping boy? Like, all of a sudden now Dallas is their usual disappointing garbage self.
Irsay's getting paid, man. Irsay's getting paid. Irsay's getting checks on the side. Come on, man. But no, this is the question you need to ask yourself. Is Dak really that guy? Let's be realistic. If that defense wasn't before today, as good as you thought it was, as I thought it was, could Dak carry this team, shootout-wise, close game, No, I don't think so. I think he's good, but I don't think he's that man who they paid all that money for.
Dak at his best in his Cowboys career was when Zeke was an absolute workhorse.
Yeah. As long as Dak doesn't have to carry the load and be the guy, then he's great. Let's be honest. Yeah, that defense fell apart, but I think this is the first real issue I've seen all year with that defense. It was a matter of time. Everyone has those games, but no, Dallas should have put these guys away. Should have. But give the Jags credit. Those guys are starting to believe in themselves. They've got solid coaching now. They've got decent talent there. And I think what's going to happen is free agents are going to see this as, hey, not bad. I could go there.
That's right. Hell, it may even look even better than that because they're now sitting at 6-8. The Titans, which we'll get to in a minute, have now dropped to 7-7. The Jags are only a game out of first place.
Yeah, they believe now.
And I would much rather see, as much as I hate the Jags, I would much rather see them in the playoffs than back in Central Tennessee Titans.
The Jags believe in themselves, and they are built now where they don't need to believe anybody else except for the 53 plus guys in that in that facility. That's all they care about, and that's what you need to do. And at
Yeah.
this point in time, they're going to just do what they do. They're going to play hard. Dallas, I think, maybe read the clippings a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, now you're going to find out and see what happens.
And I mean, it's unfortunate it took 15 weeks because if Lawrence and Peterson started to click a little bit earlier, this division would probably be locked up by now. But it happens. New coach, young quarterback. He's only in his second year. It takes a while to get on the same page sometimes.
No, exactly. They had new receivers. They've had some new pieces, and I think they finally learned the process. Because last year was just an absolute mess. Let's be honest. Yeah. And it started right at the top with the coach. It was a hot mess. So now they're learning how to win. This is only going to help them so much more. They're like, wow, we came back and we won in overtime. So, hey, go ahead, Jags. Do your thing.
That's right.
Do your thing. They're like the AFC's Lions.
That's right. Team Cat.
That's it right there, man. Man, in a couple of years, those could be your Super Bowl teams. Get ready for it.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine how much the NFL would shit their pants?
That would be the most awkward Super Bowl to watch. Because you're like, the Jags
and the Lions.
Exactly. You're sitting there going, this is just weird. There's like no, I don't know. It'd be entertaining. I would probably watch it a little more than anything else. I'd be like, all right, don't know any of you, but let's do it.
Hell, you don't know if they get a little magic behind it. Could be the Super Bowl this year. We don't know.
Hey, man, if you can win your division with a losing record, anything can happen.
That's right.
The NFC South tells you that dreams can come true.
Everyone's 0-0 in the playoffs start.
That's it. Everyone out there, if you have kids, you have doubts, tell your kids, look at the NFC South. The dreams come true.
Next game up, let's assess a near collapse. Not quite the collapse that the Cowboys had, but a near collapse. Kansas City down 14-13 at halftime to the lowly Houston Texans.
Wow, yeah.
Barely outscored Houston in the second half. 11-10. Almost blew this game. So, I mean, I don't know. Are there actual cracks in the Chiefs' armor? Or is it just typical Chiefs? Let's flip the light switch off. We know we're going to be in the playoffs, and we'll get going. We'll get going as soon as that wild card round starts. Because there's no reason you should ever be this close to Houston. I mean, Kansas City was given 14 points today.
No, and Houston, I think, just sat there and said, you know what? No one believes we're going to do anything, so let's just go ahead and, let's just play. No one believes we're going to do anything. So I think the Chiefs played down to the talent. But if this was anybody else with a decent record, I think the Chiefs actually lose this game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm honestly starting to think that the Chiefs may need to start to look at themselves and say, hey, we got to clean some things up, because we're not the Chiefs of 2-3 years ago when you had Tyreek and you just send him down the field and he would fix all your problems. Because let's be honest, Tyreek masked a lot of any issues this team had because of the talent.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Hardman was a legit receiving threat for them most of the year, and he's been hurt lately. But I mean, if Hardman's your number one, then there might be some serious problems with your depth.
And it's and is it a situation where that defense is really starting to show some extra cracks in it? It's you got Mahomes. You don't doubt him. You always have a chance. But yeah, the Texans shouldn't have been this close. And okay, you beat the Texans, and yeah, your division, hooray, hurrah! But now you really need to look at yourself and say, hey, once the playoffs start, this not cut it. But they won, so hey, hooray for you guys! You beat the Texans. I don't know what to say.
Here's your participation trophy for the evening.
Like, you're supposed to beat them. Like, it shouldn't have been like this epic situation. You should have beat them. Like, I don't get it. That's just me. Hey, the Texans took you to overtime. Be proud of yourselves. I don't know.
Next game, unfortunately, Kraft Bruiser is not on the live right now, and I don't know how much time we really need to go into this game because they're both pretty abysmal teams, but we have to go into our favorite whipping boy this year. Let's ride.
Are you talking about the incredible Denver Broncos?
The incredible Denver Broncos have finally got a win this week.
Led by, what's this? Brett Rippin. Brett Rippin. All right. You sign Rust all this money. Can't buy you a win. Brett Rippin comes in, and all of a sudden you're looking good.
Brett Rippin versus Colt McCoy. Who would have thought in August we'd be talking about this quarterback matchup in Week 15?
I feel like Colt McCoy's been around for like 30 years. I feel like he's been around longer than Tom Brady. Like, seriously, like, good Lord, this man just pops up. Like, yeah, there's nothing to talk about. Like, these teams aren't going anywhere. No one cares. If you have any of these guys on your fantasy team, I don't know, anyone on there would have got you some points. Latavius Murray, he went over 100 yards. He got you a touchdown.
He's on my team.
Wow.
Really my running backs are in shambles.
Maybe I should pick up Brett Rippin for the playoffs. Oh, sit Tom Brady and start Brett Rippin, folks. That's my call. Yeah, there's nothing to this team. Like, this game was just, I don't know, something on the schedule to watch.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, let's be realistic.
If you were unlucky enough to be in the greater Oakland or Phoenix area and you were stuck with that one.
If you don't have cable and you got an antenna on your house, I felt bad for you.
Excuse me, I said Oakland. They're in Vegas now. I have to remind myself of that.
If you don't have a streaming service and you just put an antenna out and getting digital through the airwaves, and that's what you got. I feel sorry for you.
Fortunately, that disaster wasn't the only 4 o'clock. That disaster and Tampa's disaster weren't the only 4 o'clock games to feast on. I'll throw up Drew's latest comment.
Oh, the Raiders.
Oh, the Raiders. The Raiders were up 17-3 at half. They gave up 10 unanswered points in the third. They were losing this game in the fourth quarter way late. Somehow, Chandler Jones, that's the former Patriot Chandler Jones, right?
Yes, who got released for smoking synthetic marijuana and wandering down the streets naked in Boston. Yes, Chandler Jones.
50-yard fumble recovery for the game-winning touchdown. Crazy ending for two teams that have been very mercurial this year. We'll go over the playoff standings in a little later, but how does this shape up for these two teams after Week 15? New England actually looking pretty decent with the Jets losing. The Chargers can't get out of their own way. The Dolphins can't buy a win the last few weeks. Patriots have actually been looking pretty decent, and they lose like this.
Talk about backdooring your way into the playoffs. Here you go. This is the team that will do it. And all of a sudden, you know what you'll hear? Bill Belichick, unbelievable coaching job.
That's right.
Blah, 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 blah.
Because the league cannot, I don't think the league could stand the possibility of there being a split between who won the divorce. And I'm not talking about Giselle.
Yeah. Honestly, I think people want Tom to win it, and I think because Tom won the Super Bowl, he gets the victory. Now, if the weirdest thing in the world happens and somehow New England makes it to the Super Bowl and pulls off some immaculate run, then everyone's going to make Bill's the greatest thing ever. He was the one who won it. But no, I think people really want to say Tom won it because people just can't stand Belichick. Let's be honest.
That's right. Well, the
They
people want
respect
that, not the
they
league.
respect what he's done, but they don't like him.
Yeah.
And in the world today, you either, do you want to be liked or do you want to be respected? So, but when you're letting Matt Patricia call your offensive plays,
who's not even an offensive guy.
No, like he's like the old. It's him and Bill O'Brien. They're like the buddy old, offensive coordinator tandem. It's this weird thing, and it doesn't work. You need one guy who actually handles the offense, who knows offense, to call the offense. Point blank. Mac Jones is a mess. I think that kid's messed in the head somewhat. They may, like you said, they may backdoor their way in.
Yeah.
So
it could happen.
So with the Patriots, they play well enough where they don't always shoot themselves in the foot. That defense is good enough to kind of mask what that offense doesn't have. You got to look at the schedule ahead to see if maybe, they can weave their way in. As for the Raiders are just a straight disappointment. They're like Tampa. All that talent, just can't get it right.
Right.
The offseason is going to be, is Derek Carr the guy? Is he the guy? Because don't forget, there were rumors that Brady wanted to go to the Raiders, and the Raiders were like, yeah, but no, we think we have the guy. And Brady said, really? That MFer? That's the guy? That's the MFer they think he was talking about was Carr.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe they feel they're one quarterback away and they say, all right, see you later. So they've really got to look at themselves. They have talent. They just can't get it all together.
Do you think, they're making a little bit of push despite the fact that they are still shooting themselves in the foot. What do you think their chances are to make the playoffs, considering their competition is the Patriots, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Chargers? What are the Raiders' actual realistic chances?
I think they're slim. And the reason is those teams that you named somewhat have that ability to pull out games or to stay in games. I don't think the Raiders have that. Because first of all, your head coach is just horrible. Your head coach,
your favorite man.
Hey, man. He would have been your guy, but he decided to say, nope, I'm kicking rocks.
That's true. He would have.
So these other teams look like they know how to find a way to win. The Raiders look to find ways to lose. Maybe this, this game here turns the tide. I don't think so. But the Raiders would have to win out, and I think a lot of other stuff would have to happen. So right now, I don't trust the Raiders.
No. Yeah, they're a hard team to put any kind of confidence behind. I'm actually kind of glad that they did do what they did today, because it wipes out the equal gambling disaster that the Chargers were today. They were up. They had, what are they given? They're given 3 points today. They're up 14-7 late in the fourth quarter. I'm thinking, all right, that looks good. I'm probably gonna lose the Raiders here, but at least I'll pull out the Chargers. And sure enough, 10 minutes later, whoop, completely flipped around. And they wind up with a push. Chargers tie it late. Chargers wind up driving down the field, kicking a field goal. They wind up coming out with a win, 8-6. Not the worst situation, but they're kind of a paper tiger, 8-6, because the Chargers have been a roller coaster all year long. And this is another team you just can't trust. I can't trust the Chargers, and it's a shame because Herbert's so freaking good.
I think it's coaching. I think a lot of the decisions that head coach does are mind-boggling. It's great to go on, fourth down when, if your team's really, things are going well and you're like, all right, let's do it. But I think this guy would go on 4th and 15 if he could. I think there needs to be a change in leadership there. I think it's almost like there's talent there, but there's just no direction. So now they have had injuries throughout the year, but still, I think overall, I think there needs to be a change at head coach. I just don't think I don't think that head coach has it. I don't think Bradley's the guy.
Yeah. Although, if there was one positive I could take out is the fact that the Titans did lose, and the Titans can finally be exposed for the paper tigers that they are, which is made
years of anger and anguish.
Which is made equally good the fact that, as pissed off as I am that the Cowboys just collapsed and couldn't cover, at least that did result in the Jags become pulling within a game, and maybe the Titans will just fall out and be exposed for the frauds they are.
Here's the thing. I don't know if they were exactly frauds. Everybody knows the Titans will go as far as Derrick Henry. Now, you lose A.J. Brown, the defense isn't as potent as it was in years past. So yeah, there were holes there, and Derrick Henry covers those. But teams have figured it out. They're like, Tannehill can't throw. He has no one to throw the ball to. Let's be realistic. You got some rookies there, but nothing great. Tannehill really isn't a guy who's going to throw for 3-something, and you fear his arm. So we're like, all right, let's stack the box. Try to hold Derrick down, and we'll take our luck. And that's what's happening now. I think next year Malik will probably get a shot at starting, because at this point I don't think you can honestly say Tannehill's my guy. You're going to have to figure out some other stuff, because there's only so many years Derrick's going to have on those legs. He's going to wear down. He's one injury away from just blowing out a knee and being done.
And I think they would need to make a decision like that very early after the season's over, because Malik did look a little bit over his head when he got into the games. So I think he definitely needs a full commitment from the team and a full off season to get work in with their wide receivers.
Well, that
in order to not look like a total disaster.
Well, that and he needs a big target. I think when you're a rookie quarterback, if you've got that tight end or that like second or third receiver who's like your outlet, who you can sit there and say, okay, I can't make this read. I can't make this read. I know I can hit this guy for maybe 4 or 5 yards just to get comfortable, so we can move the offense. That's what he needs, and they don't have that.
Right.
So it's like it's Derrick Henry or bust with them, and that's not going to do it.
And that's the comparisons there are certainly plentiful. I mean, with Lamar Jackson down with the Ravens,
yeah,
they got this kid that nobody knows who Tyler Huntley is, but at the same time, he's still got Mark Andrews to throw to.
Yeah, but this kid Huntley, it was just rough for him. So I think the Chargers just need to, they need to tighten the ship and figure out, it needs to be a little more business, and it seems it's a little more frat boyish fun.
Mm-hmm.
If people are ready to hang their hats on that team, then they need to show a little more. The Titans are hanging on to what they have left. They need to overhaul that team. And I think in the offseason, you'll see what happens.
Speaking of Saturday games, we can go into the Ravens a little bit more.
Why? Why?
I want to know why too. Because
I'm gonna be honest. Thank God that was the middle game. If that was like the first game, I would have been like, "No, man, I can go cut the grass or something." If that was the last game, I'm gonna go. I'm watching something else on TV. That game was horrible. That game, there was nothing to take from that game. Nothing. You cannot tell me it was entertaining.
No, it wasn't.
What? Deshaun Watson was horrible. I know he's been away and blah, blah, blah. He was horrible. The Browns should have won that game because the Ravens had no offense. They could do nothing. Yeah. It was just a horrible game. It felt like a preseason game.
I just want to know why the Steelers can show up against us and show up against Carolina today, but they couldn't beat the Ravens last week with no Lamar Jackson. and here's the same Ravens team with no Lamar Jackson going up against Cleveland with Deshaun Watson not playing in a year and a half, and they just look absolutely embarrassing.
I don't know. Maybe you just bring the best out in teams. I don't know, man.
I think so. I think that's all it is. I'm telling you, we're Vegas's whipping boy. We really are. We've always has been.
I don't know. The Ravens need to figure it out quick. Even with Lamar, that team is limited in what they can do. They're going to try to hang the hat on that defense, but those guys are getting banged up every week. Marcus Peters got hurt. Calais Campbell got nicked up and hurt.
Mm-hmm.
That's for them. I think they're trying to live the glory days kind of what, Ray Lewis and those guys when they had that stout defense and they had enough offense to do a little something, like they could actually throw the ball a little bit and they ran the ball. The times have changed that you're not going to get away with that. You don't have that, especially with the offenses you're facing now. So they either need to get Lamar some serious weapons because they're going to run Mark Andrews into the ground, and he just might say, forget it, I want to get out of here. Let's be realistic, because he is your number one threat on that offense. Your running backs last a game and a half and fall apart. I feel bad. I'm like, J.K. Dobbins is back? I didn't know that.
I know.
Oh, shoot.
2 weeks now. It's just a revolving door, and now they're back to their main guy. It only took them 15 weeks.
And then you're going to throw Gus Edwards out there. He's going to pop something, God forbid. And, let's be honest here.
How this team has gone to 9-5 through 15 weeks, I have no earthly idea.
It's just called, this season has just been, I don't know, it's luck. But they're going to be one and done in the playoffs. No one is scared of the Ravens.
Yeah, no.
You can have Ray Lewis come out there and do his little dance now, and no one's going to care. There's nothing there. You're not scaring anybody. Your defense is decent. Like I said, you've got a decent defense, no doubt about it, when they're all healthy. But that offense is putrid, and that game was horrible. I was mad.
I think I might have fallen asleep.
Oh, I did. I started nodding about. I'm like, I got to go do something because I'm not going to fall asleep to this. I'll have nightmares. I'll have nightmares. I can't do this.
Oh, well, speaking of nightmares.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, so you want to talk about this first, or do you want to touch on Buffalo and then bring this up at the end? You let me know.
I thought about talking Buffalo first and giving my platform to lament at the end. But
okay, however you want to do it, man.
I want to be. You know what? I'll be positive. Let's start negative and end positive.
All right, there you go.
Let me do the math on this.
All right, so while you do that, I'll start up.
39-3 in the second half and overtime, outscored. Up 33 nothing at halftime, outscored 39-3 in the second half and overtime. And mind you, I'm not expecting anything from the Colts this year. I'm not. I took the Vikings to cover this. Of course they didn't because they're giving 4. So I can't even have that. I can't even have that. I can't have nice things at all this year with anything to do with Indianapolis. But just I'm so torn from this game because sometimes when you're not expecting them to do well and they play really well, you're like, okay, at least I can get a decent, at least I can maybe have some kind of happiness out of a football week. Maybe I can have some kind of happiness.
It may not be victory Monday, but I've got, you know what? They're turning the corner.
Yeah.
All right. That's what you're thinking.
I mean, the only way I can rationalize this into some kind of silver lining is the fact that for, I don't know, a half and a little bit of change, they did play hard, but a loss is a loss, and we don't hurt our draft standing. And at the end of the day, with Saturday's regime, the best I can really hope for is for this team just to play hard, show some spirit, but still lose, so we can still get a high draft pick and bring in some kind of player. Hopefully it's a pass rusher or wide receiver. If it's not, honestly, if the first round draft pick is not a pass rusher or wide receiver, I'm done. I'm hanging it up. I'm going to root for the Panthers. But I cannot sit through another draft and see this team not draft a pass rusher or a wide receiver. I just cannot do it. So ultimately, I guess the way this game went, as embarrassing as it was probably the best thing that could have happened because they did play hard. They did show something for a good chunk of the game, but ultimately still lose and don't hurt our draft standing. But it's just such an embarrassing way to do it.
All right.
All right. I'm done. I'm sorry.
No. It's okay. You're allowed to have this. This is because it was history. Let's be honest here. Let me see where I'm going. All right. I didn't turn the game on until halftime. I'm doing household stuff, and I'm like, oh, that's right. There's 3 games on. It's Saturday. All right. So I kick it on, and the half had just ended. So I'm like, what? I'm like 33-0. I'm like, get out of here. And I'm like, this is crazy. So I'm like, all right. This is going to be interesting to see. And then just to watch it all just crumble. And I got flashbacks of 28-3. That's what that was. And what's funny is the common denominator in this situation is Matt Ryan.
Of course.
And to sit there and watch this happen was like, you knew what the Vikings were going to do. Now, mind you, KJ Osborne, I didn't think he was going to be the guy. KJ Osborne, man, anyone who had him on fantasy cashed in. The man had like 150 yards or something. The man was great.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what their offense is. And I figured after a couple scores, the Colts would find a way to at least kind of stick a finger in the dam while the water's coming out, just enough to, maybe win by 10, kind of just hold it. Nope, it just fell apart. And I don't know.
KJ Osborne had such a good game, it made me think Rocky Sin was covering him.
Yo, man, Rocky Sin, you could have used Rocky Sin yesterday. You could have used him.
No, if Rocky Sin was playing, they would have had 250 yards. Both of them, him and Jefferson.
All I know is Stephon Gilmore's ankles must hurt because that play when freaking Jay Jetta there turned him sideways and scored the touchdown, I was like, man, hang it up. I go, like 3 years ago, you were Defensive Player of the Year. What happened to you?
Chip Bailey lasted longer than this.
Dude. I think if you're a Colts fan, you sit there and say, yeah, you want to be competitive, but you're like, is this what I'm going to get the rest of the year with Jeff Saturday as my head coach? Is this what it's going to be? Like, there's moral victories, but, like, come on. Like, there's no way. They should have came back to win. No way.
Honestly, to me, I have no problem with retaining him and bringing him back because this team needs a rebuild. This team was built up to such a level that it just needed that last little piece, and the bottom has fallen out so abruptly that I don't want a veteran coach that's ready to win or a young hot coordinator name to come in and have this expectation and try to fit square pegs into round holes. So I'm okay with just letting Saturday do this again next year with the year of experience, with the training camp, being able to hire his own staff. Just let's see how it is because this team just needs to be taken apart. So I don't see what the benefit is to bringing in the next hot coordinator or a veteran head coach. I don't see any benefit to that.
All
as
right.
opposed to just keeping Saturday around.
So you keep Saturday, and let's say it ends up the same way. So you've really done nothing. The team's a year older. So then what is it then? Like, you're in no better place. You're actually in a worse spot. For me, it's if you truly believe Jeff Saturday is the guy, then fine, so be it. I don't think he is. I think if there's a veteran head coach who can create a culture there, because that is what is needed, I think you need to just sit there and say, all right, if we're going to, let's burn it down and start from scratch.
But what veteran head coach is going to want to come in and burn the thing down?
Dude,
it's not baseball. We can't do a Buck Showalter thing.
Yeah, but at the same time, if it's a situation where it's a coach who's got a history of rebuilding and bringing teams up to at least competitive levels, and you're at least in the conversation come this time next year, would you rather have that or sit there and say, "Wow, yep, we're like 3-12, woo woo"?
I don't know who that is though.
You don't know, but that's the gamble. You don't know, but you've got to at least try and say, "Hey, we want to change this." Maybe you sit there and say, "You know what? The run game we can't predicate anymore. We need to be a more pass. We need to be a more pass offense." Is Jeff Saturday gonna, be your offensive guru? Who's that guy?
If I'm okay with going into the offseason not guaranteeing him the job.
Yeah, but he's gonna.
But I don't want them to fire him either, because if we're like a month and a half into the offseason, we're getting ready to go into the combine, start legitimately thinking of who to draft, and that veteran head coach with a history of building up teams is not available or just doesn't have any interest. If that option just isn't there, I don't want to be in a situation where we just settle on somebody.
Right. But let's say your offensive and defensive coordinator say, "You know what? I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here." So in other words, you're going to end up picking up guys who have probably never done it before. You're going to be in that situation one way or the other.
Well, Saturday is going to bring in his own staff anyway. I mean, I find it hard to believe that.
Who's he going to bring in, though? Is he getting Marvin? Is Marvin Harrison going to be your offensive coordinator?
Well, maybe if he's not shooting anybody.
There you go. Who's going to be your defensive guy? Who's going to run your defense?
Bring back Mathis.
like I don't see Jeff Saturday as having a 20 numbers on his phone and he's going to whip up a staff. I just don't think he is. I think people doubt him, and the guy deserves a chance. I get that, but I would rather have, if I'm going to get some guys who are proven. Yeah, I'm not going in next year thinking I'm going to make the playoffs. I'm not. But if I'm sitting here saying, if I bring these guys in and within 2 to 3 years we're there, the rebuild, then why not do that? Because don't forget, I don't think Matt Ryan's coming back.
Nope, he's gone.
There's no way you're bringing him back. Freaking Taylor, you got to keep him healthy because he's been running to the ground.
Yeah,
that defense is pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean Leonard's a bit of a malcontent, but
exactly. Does he want to be there? How many years does Gilmore have left now? You have a lot of questions here that are asked. So can Saturday navigate that ship? If Colts fans want to sit there and just shat the bed for the season, then hey, there you go. If you're just shooting for that number 1 draft pick, you and Houston are going to battle it out.
That's right.
But I'm thinking, if I know there's a guy that's out there, he may be a veteran guy. Yeah, he's not the number 1 pick, but he can sit there and start to build a process. There you go. Because your draft is going to be key. Your draft is going to be key.
It's so bizarre to me to look at the Colts and not see the 2 biggest deficiencies as the two positions that were a plethora of success for many years.
Yeah, exactly.
Wide receiver and defensive end as our 2 biggest holes just does not compute to me.
And quarterback.
Wow, yeah, that's true.
Let's be honest. It was never like that.
Yeah.
It was a team. It was a franchise that was well built. There weren't holes in it. There weren't holes in it. There were guys, who they put in and played well in those spots, like New England did. They would take people's junk, throw them in there, turn them into stars because they fit what they were doing. They don't have that there now. So it all depends on what you want from your team. If you want Saturday just to ride it out and all of a sudden maybe catch us a magical run, hey. But for me, I may even sit there and go as far as say, okay, you want Taylor? What will you give me for him? Why not?
I think it's fair. I think it's fair to listen to offers for Taylor.
If someone's going to give you something, now mind you, someone might be stupid enough to give you a first rounder. I wouldn't, But if I can get a couple second rounders, why not? Just as good.
It just hurts me to think like that because it's so long we needed that workhorse back. We finally got one, and now we're talking about trading him.
Right.
Or at least the possibility of trading him.
Right. But you're also willing to sit there and toil in another year or two of just crapness and run him into the ground. So at that point, why not just better the team?
Right.
Because you can get that workhorse style back in round 4, round 5. Let's be honest. Everybody knows nowadays running back is almost a dime a dozen.
Right.
But
and they're only going to last for 3 years anyway.
The cautionary tale of Todd Gurley. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Todd Gurley was incredible. The Rams ran him senseless, and then what happened? Gone.
Yep.
So let's be honest. If I know I can give you this guy and you can help me with my future, then why not? Because look at those teams that mortgage their futures now. The Rams looking horrible. You don't want to be that. I would rather say, okay, let's start it from scratch. If you're going to be my guy, this is my plan as the owner. This is what I want. Can you get me this or come close to it? Because the fans are going to be like, forget this, because at the end of the day, it's their money. They're not coming around.
Their season tickets are going to cost about as much as Jaguar season tickets.
I don't know. Jaguar tickets, I think, got a little more premium to them.
Well, now they are.
I think it's just they need to look at the organization and say, where do we see ourselves in 2 to 3 years?
Yeah.
But yeah, that game was
pretty bad.
That it was. I felt bad for Matt Ryan for a moment.
No, you didn't.
No, I did. And then I said, nah, that's what you get.
Speaking of running your horses into the ground, we've tossed it around a lot this season about Josh Allen being run into the ground. But he's shaken off the injury concerns, and now they're actually sitting a little pretty, probably, and considering what Kansas City did today, probably looking better than Kansas City going into the stretch run.
Yeah.
Pulled off a real thriller against Miami in the snow.
That game was great. It was a really good game. I was impressed. With Miami.
Miami still can't buy a win.
They can't, but the fact that they hung with Buffalo, I think says a lot. They can do it. I think if it wasn't played in that weather, I think Miami could have pulled it out. Let's be honest. I think the weather kind of plays a factor a little bit, but it doesn't matter. You gotta. Everyone plays in it, But
you go to Buffalo in December, it might be a possibility.
There you go. I just think Josh Allen is he's something special. He's something special, and he made the plays, and they won. But Miami's going to be a tough out. I think those guys. Tua has shown that he's a legit quarterback. He's a legit quarterback in the league.
Through 15 weeks, are we back in the mentality that we were in week 3, where this is just Josh Allen's year?
I don't think it's his year. I think they can go to the Super Bowl. If you're asking me today, who do I think is going to the Super Bowl? After today, I would say Buffalo, because I don't trust the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I don't trust the Chiefs. The fact that Houston took you to that point, I don't trust you. I don't trust you. I think overall, Buffalo is just playing a better type of ball. So, but if you're telling me Buffalo goes to the Super Bowl and plays against Philly, I give them. I think it's almost a toss-up. But if it's the Niners, no.
I was going to say Buffalo versus Philly or Buffalo versus the Niners.
No, they're playing the Niners. No, they won't be able to handle the Niners. The Niners have too many weapons, and that defense is legit. That defense is good. That front seven is, I think, better than Dallas's, and they just play better. I think, honestly, right now, I would take the Niners, even with Mr. Irrelevant. I think they play that system, and what they do, they just play clean ball, and they don't shoot themselves. So, no, Buffalo, I think, is coming out of the AFC. I think they're going to get over the Chiefs hurdle from last year. But no, if they face San Fran, no, not yet.
Yeah. Let's talk preview. Just kicking off a little while ago, Washington is up to an early 3-0 lead.
Oh, my boy, Heineke. That's my boy. He's 4 of 6 for 40 yards.
Is tonight going to be the final nail in the Giants' coffin?
One would think, but how today has gone, who knows? They might pull something out, But you know what it was? The Giants were the feel-good story, and I think the Giants were the beneficiary of how we are now in the league. Of we don't get 4 preseason games, and it's almost like the season's rushed. So a lot of teams don't catch their traction till literally week 5, 6, 7. I think the Giants were able to ride that out, but I think teams now know that the Giants have no one to throw the ball to. It's Saquon and, Danny Dimes' legs, and that's it. Their defense is starting to fall apart because those guys are on the field a lot longer. Washington, they kind of remind me of the Jags. No one thinks anything. They're like, we're just going to go in and we're going to beat you, and that's it. We don't care. We don't care how we do it. We're going to do it. Heineke's going to buy his guys more J's and Air Force Ones, and they're just going to do their thing. They don't care. They're like, they may backdoor themselves into the dance, and they could be a team that first round where it's like, I don't know. Don't know if I want to touch.
Hey, free dinner every week in Air Force Ones. What more can you ask from if you're an offensive lineman?
Dude, man, I'll run through a wall for you. I'm all about it. But, now, mind you, I give all the credit in the world to the Giants. It was a great turnaround. They've changed that culture now. But now you need to look at that team and say, what do we need to build? You need receivers because Shepard's decent. You need to give Galloway away for anything, whatever you can get for him.
Yeah.
You got some young tight ends that could be decent, but you've got to really figure it out because I think Dimes is on his 5th year. I don't know if they signed him I don't think they didn't sign him for his 5th year. So they're going to have to figure that out. If they're going to have to pay him a little bit if they believe he's the guy, because I'm sure some team will pay for him because he's got talent.
Yeah.
Just that in New York, he hasn't had it. Saquon's been hurt. He's had to kind of figure it out on his own. If you put that guy on a decent offense, he could do some stuff. But no, I think it'd be a close game, but I'm taking Washington.
Yeah, I would think so too. Again, like you said, the Giants have done incredibly surprising things this year, but the way they're sitting right now, I'd be pretty shocked if Washington lost tonight.
Yeah, and if New York gets in, I'm sorry, they're a one and done. I don't think anyone's. They're gonna have to travel somewhere, and it's not gonna be pretty. So,
speaking of preview, tomorrow night, 2 of your most favorite teams to take a dump on.
I don't do that, man. I am neutral. I don't dump on anybody. I don't dump.
And
that hurts.
I was looking over the standings last week.
This is a pretty one.
Oh, yeah. I was looking over the standings last week or the week before. Tickets going as low as $24 right now. Get right into Lambeau if you can.
I do want, at some point, we do have to go. I want to go to Lambeau.
Okay.
I do want to sit there and say I've been there. It's one of those things where, regardless of the team and all, because of the history and everything, you want to say you've been there,
Yeah.
It's like being able to say, you were at, the original, old Yankee Stadium and stuff like that, Shea and things like that. Like, I was able to urinate in the troughs in Shea Stadium before it became, Citi Field. I was there when it was real.
It was real and seedy.
It was real and seedy, and there were dudes on my left and right who I didn't feel comfortable with. But I had to go, so I had to do what I had to do.
I was looking at the standings, and the Packers are just close enough. Just close enough. If things break right and teams start collapsing, they could sneak their way in.
There's no way.
the gears start turning, and I'm thinking the league's going to pull some strings. They're going to want Rodgers in. And I don't trust anything. I don't trust anything. So, particularly so with a win, if they were to win tomorrow night, because we know the Rams are deplorable. They don't even have a quarterback, and even when they did, Stafford wasn't exactly firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I think it's Wolford starting, I think, tomorrow.
I don't even know if it's him. I think he got hurt too.
I know he was hurt a couple of weeks ago, and they had that third stringer in, but I thought Wolford was back. But who knows? You're right. Who knows?
Yeah. So
no. Come on, man. They would have to jump over Detroit. There's no way. There's no way, bro. Come on.
I mean, I hope not. But it's
Seattle.
One of those weird things where I don't trust the league. I don't trust the league.
Like literally, they would have to like tell those guys not to show up at the stadium, and they'd have to be like the replacements. They would have to put USFL guys in there. Come on, dude. There's no way. It can't happen. I think right now, yeah, because right now, who's the 7th seed of the Giants? Now, see, the Giants beat them, so there'd be no way.
Tiebreaker, yeah.
Tiebreaker that way.
Plus, the Giants have a tie on them. Tie beats a loss.
Exactly. So, like, Washington would have to, like, bottom out. The Giants would have to move up. Like, no, there's no way. If that happens, then I'm done. I'm done with the NFL.
No more football.
I get XFL all the way.
Probably get the season tickets for way cheaper, too.
Man, they'll put me on the team, man. I just want to sit on the bench, give me some gear. I'm good with it. But no. I think it's just gonna, you know what it's gonna be? Yeah, the Packers will probably win. It'll be a close one. Because the Rams still have a decent defense. I think Donald's playing. I know he was out last week, I believe. But it also depends. Is Jalen Ramsey happy? Maybe he's not. Maybe he's just going to be like, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
They've got some decentness on defense. At this point, I'd rather see the Rams win.
Just to put the nail in the coffin.
Nail in the coffin of the greatest quarterback around, Aaron Rodgers. What a bunch of junk. Whatever. Yeah, where are all these Aaron Rodgers fans now? Aaron Rodgers is the greatest. At least Tom Brady's 6-8 and in the playoffs still.
By the skin of his teeth.
I'll brag about it. I don't care. I'll hang my hat on that. Aaron Rodgers, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, speaking of the playoffs, we can't say goodnight without doing a quick recap.
Oh, yeah.
What's X and Y?
X
and Z, right? Oh, that's the division? Oh, wow. The AFC West is garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
So, Buffalo and Kansas City atop the AFC with equal 11-3 records. Buffalo, of course, has the head-to-head tiebreaker.
Yep.
We've already talked about that. Do you see Buffalo slipping up at all in Kansas City leapfrogging them? Or is the number one seed just Buffalo's from here on out with 3 weeks to play?
Problem is Buffalo, I think their last couple games are divisional games. And if you really look at it, it's like, it's crazy that the AFC East is literally like the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like New England dropped out right now because they lost. But still, they're still sniffing around. So you got Buffalo, you got Miami. Could still have New England. You never know.
Their next two games are both on the road against Chicago and Cincinnati.
Oh, Buffalo?
Yep. And then they close the season with the Patriots at home.
I could see them going like 2-1. I say that because Cincinnati has talent. I'm not 100% ready to say 3-0, but they very well could. So even if they go 2-1, I think Buffalo's the number one seed.
I mean, and Cincinnati's clicking right now.
Yeah, they definitely are. But like I said, I'd give Buffalo the number 1 seed. I think the seeding stays the same 1 through 4. I don't think there's any change.
Kansas City, just for
Unless
argument.
Kansas City slips up. Now, it very well could. Kansas City would be the team I would be the most worried about.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Just for argument's sake, their last 3 games, they have 2 home games against the Seahawks, who, despite all of Geno's best efforts this season, have been falling apart lately. The Les Ride Denver Broncos.
Les Ride.
And they close the season in Vegas.
See,
so that probably is an easier finish than Buffalo, just because Buffalo does have the Bengals.
Yeah, I think the toughest game for Kansas City. See, I want to say Seattle, but the Raiders game kind of piques my interest.
Well, we watched their first matchup.
Yeah,
and they could have lost that game.
Yeah. So I think they can get. I think they would also be 2-1, but it wouldn't surprise me if they lost 2 of those games.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me because I don't trust Kansas City enough. I just don't.
Yeah.
So, but I want to say my gut tells me 1 through 4 stays the same, but I wouldn't be surprised if 2 and 3 seed flip, and since he somehow gets the 2 seed. It doesn't really matter because only the first seed gets the home advantage anyway. So.
However, if they were to flip and Cincy were to win out and beat Buffalo, maybe that would vault Cincinnati to the 1. It's possible. They would have the head-to-head over Buffalo if the wheels fall off of Kansas City.
It's true. It's true. But Cincy would have to win out, right?
Yeah. And they have – I'm not even going to bother asking the question if they're just the team to beat in the AFC North because the Ravens are just so abysmal.
True.
But they do close the season against the Ravens at home to maybe put a stamp on it, and that's assuming it's not already clinched by then because in addition to that Bills game, they also go to New England next week. So Cincinnati, not the easiest finish.
No. That's why I think Buffalo keeps the 1 seed. I think you would see Buffalo at the 1. Like I said, I think the 1 through 4 stay the same. If there is any change, it would be 2 and 3. I don't think Cincy would have enough to take over and get the 1 seed.
So you think Tennessee's going to hold on to the division? You don't think Jacksonville's going to catch them? Breaks my heart.
The fan in me wants to see chaos. Let's be realistic. We all want to see chaos. I would think that Vrabel would have enough on that team to hold on to that. If they lose next week, though, then all bets are off.
Tennessee closes the season with Houston next week.
All right. They will beat Houston because I think Houston will be emotionally spent from this loss. I don't think it's one of those things where they're like, all right, we were this close. We can do it. I think they're going to be a mess.
Then they have Dallas.
Oh, there's no – it's Dallas and all, but they are not beating Dallas. Tennessee doesn't have the weapons that Jacksonville has. And it's really funny to say that.
Yeah.
So, no, they're not beating Dallas.
And speaking of Jacksonville, they do close the season in Jacksonville. So maybe we have a plan for the division.
Who's Jacksonville? What's Jacksonville's record? This is the key. What's Jacksonville have?
Right now they're only a game back at Tennessee.
Right. So who do they have left to play?
Let's find out.
This is the key here.
The Jets Jets next
week. That's a win.
And the Houston Texans.
Oh Lord, they could win out. They could win out. Oh my God. Yes. Let the chaos reign. Because the Jets aren't going to do squat. Those guys hate playing with Josh Allen. I mean, with what's his name? Let's be real. Jets are going to fall off the map. So, yes, it could happen. The Jags could end up winning the division.
Speaking of falling off the map, currently the Jets and the Patriots are both off the map right now. So you have the limping Baltimore Ravens at the worst 9-5 in existence at the 5 seed. The Chargers fought their way back to the 6 seed, and the Dolphins somehow are holding on to a playoff spot at number 7. That's of course, with New England, the Jets right behind them at 500.
Yeah.
So out of those 5 teams, because I feel like if Jacksonville's going to make it, they'll make it as a division winner. They're not going to.
Yeah, that's the only way they're going to make it, I think.
Yeah. So out of these 5 teams, Baltimore, Chargers, Dolphins, Patriots, Jets, who are the 3 that are going to be the wild cards?
Wow. The last 3 standing?
Yeah.
Wow.
The last 3 with the fewest injuries and or issues.
Wow. Wow, this is tough.
I'll take Miami.
You think Miami survives?
I think Miami survives. I think they've honestly, despite this horrendous stretch they're on, I think they have the most talent of all of these teams, and I think they've had the best body of work this season of all these teams.
Oh no, they definitely have. But I think the Chargers have just as much talent.
Oh, yeah.
I think the Chargers have more talent defensively. I just think the Chargers are that kid in school who's smart as all, but just never studies and just doesn't reach his potential.
Yeah.
That's what they strike me as. They're that team.
I would take the Chargers as in too.
So
I'm petrified. I'm petrified to say that because they beat themselves. But if all things work well, I would definitely take both of those teams to be in.
I will take these 3 teams till the end. I don't think Miami would. If this was Miami of the past, I would say one of those 2 teams, being New England or the Jets, would take over. But no, I think what you see today is what we'll finish with.
So you're taking Baltimore too.
They're 9-5. Like they would literally have to just bomb it out. And what's his name's coming back at some point. I don't know what's their schedule. I know they're one of their last games at Cincinnati. Who else do they have?
They have Atlanta next week.
Good God.
I know. They have the Steelers. They just beat. And of course they close the season in Cincinnati.
They could go 1-2. They could go 1-2. They're beating whatchamacallit. Who was the first game?
Atlanta.
They're beating Atlanta. No, they'll beat Atlanta. It'll be ugly, but they'll beat Atlanta. But the other 2 games, they could lose. I could see them losing
because Pittsburgh is going to want revenge.
Exactly. Tomlinson's he's going to make it personal, and those guys will run through a wall for him. So yes, it'll be ugly, but they always play ugly ball. So no, yeah. I could see them beating them. And then Cincinnati. No, Cincinnati will just squash them.
So if they drop 2, who do you think replaces them, or do you think New England and the Jets are just so abysmal and beating themselves that it won't matter?
But
Baltimore's going to limp in.
At that point, they would finish. Baltimore would be 10-7. Then you're saying, what are the Chargers going to do? Are the Chargers going to drop 2 out of 3?
No. I think we're in agreement. I think the Chargers are safe and the Dolphins are safe.
Yeah. So,
but if the Ravens drop 2 of their last 3, could they get overtaken by New England or the Jets? New England's got.
I think it's too much. I don't know.
New England's looking rough. I don't think New England would do it because they're looking rough right now. Today was probably the best chance they had to get a win in December.
Yeah, because I believe they were the 7th seed.
Yeah.
They were still the 7th seed, I believe. So with this loss, that's what knocked them out. Yeah, they would have to win out, and they would need a lot of luck.
Yeah. They got the Bengals, they got Miami, and they got Buffalo.
Yeah, no. I'm saying they're going 0-3.
Yeah. And that's 0-3, maybe even if it snows with the Dolphins game.
Yeah, exactly. Weirder things have happened. Maybe they steal one. Maybe they steal one depending how everything is shaping up. Maybe someone doesn't play some starters, whatever. if it's locked in. But no, I don't think. I think even if Baltimore drops a few, I think this is what you're looking at.
And the Jets, just for argument's sake, coming off this 3-game losing streak and 5 losses out of 7.
Yeah,
close the season with Jacksonville
losing.
Looks like a Thursday nighter.
Oh, that's gonna be it is. It's this Thursday.
Yep.
Oh, I'm gonna be watching that one. That's gonna be good.
At Seattle. And at Miami to close it.
Ooh.
Seattle, I don't know, but I'd be pretty surprised if they won the other two.
Ooh.
Even with the short week.
No, I think they beat. I think Jacksonville beats them.
I'm saying from the Jets' perspective, I'd
Right.
be surprised. I'd be surprised if they won any more than the Seattle game.
Yeah, it's just I don't think Seattle's that bad. I don't know. I don't. I think
not. I mean, we saw this season they're not, but they just don't have. I think they're just falling apart.
The Seattle game is the more evenly matched of the 3. So that one could be a toss-up, but yeah, no. The Jets are just no. The Jags, man, they're on fire. Who would think? Who would have thought that I'd be saying, "Wow, the Jags must see TV." On a Thursday night, I'm excited to watch the Jags.
I mean, I don't want to say that. The only reason I'm willing to say it is because it means the Titans are going to fall on and be exposed.
You just want them to go like 3-14 and just be there. You go. Your life is right.
That's right. I mean, hey, wouldn't it bring a sparkle to your eye if you saw the Saints go 3-14?
Yeah, they got Jameis Winston. I don't have to worry about nothing. They're just bums.
Oh, switching over to the NFC. Somehow the Eagles haven't clinched the division. I don't know how.
Exactly. I wonder.
The other two top teams have. Minnesota's clinched the North. San Francisco's clinched the West.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've got this log jam up at the top of. I mean, I think at this point, especially after Saturday, Minnesota's definitely cemented their status as paper tigers. San Francisco's hanging around. I mean, they could catch Minnesota very easily.
You could.
But I honestly, San Francisco, I don't think it matters where they finish.
No, they know. Wherever they finish, they're going to handle business.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think they're the scariest team to play.
And Philadelphia, I really think Philadelphia does need to hold on to that bye because I think they need that extra week to.
Oh, they totally do. They totally do. Because let's be honest, like I said, 13-1, yeah, that's great and all, but I don't think you faced enough adversity to strengthen who you are.
Yeah.
So, no, they definitely need that 1 seed. So,
your Bucs defying all odds and logic and holding on to a division lead. What do you think?
Best 6-8 team in the league, baby.
What do you think in your most objective
I'll be objective.
Possible? What do you think? Do you think they really can hold on to this based on what you've seen lately?
Let me see. The remaining games are. I know we've got a Falcons game. We've got the Panthers.
And who's next week?
Let me see. Who's next week?
They have. Oh God. It's Arizona. What a disaster.
If the world was right like it should be, then yeah, I would say 3-0, and then I'm sitting there 9-8, loving life.
Yeah.
I think it goes down to the last game of the season, and we eke it out. I think we go 2-1. I just don't trust this team as far as I can throw them, but I've got to be able to. They've got to be able to win 2 games. They've got. Like if you can't, then that's just sad.
Do you think Atlanta has any chance of pulling even with them and having that last game be a win and in?
Who's Atlanta play?
Let's find out.
We said they play.
Right now they're a game back.
Right.
They got Baltimore.
Yeah, they're not beating Baltimore.
They got Arizona.
Could beat Arizona because
Yeah.
First of all, I don't even know who the quarterback is. Colt McCoy got hurt.
Of course.
I think he had a concussion, so I don't even know who the third string guy is. So that's a toss up and a half. But I think Atlanta has enough pieces and enough continuity to that team that they could win. And then what's the last game?
Tampa.
Bucs. That's right.
Well, I mean, if they were to go 1-1 going into that last game, that puts them at 6-10. That would mean Tampa Bay would have to lose both the upcoming games.
Yeah, and I don't see that happening. I just can't.
I mean, there's no way they're losing Arizona. That's impossible.
No.
I could see them losing to Carolina. As abysmal as Carolina is, they do play hard. I could see them losing to Carolina. There's no chance in hell they're losing Arizona.
No. So, no. Because, I think by the luck of the draw, Tampa holds on to the division.
I think you're okay, too, because I think Carolina's best bet was to take advantage of these 2 games today and next week. To beat the Steelers and to somehow pull off some magic against Detroit, 2 home games.
Yeah, and right now Detroit's clicking.
Detroit's on fire. I'm really not very confident at all that they can beat Detroit.
I don't.
Yeah.
I think Tampa wins next week. I think it almost cements it for them.
Right.
So, and then they'll have a date with Dallas.
How do you feel about that?
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, 38-7.
That's right.
Brady returns. The greatness begins again, and then we'll get shellacked by whoever.
Classic Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs.
Exactly. Let's be realistic here. After what they did today, there's questions. I don't care what anybody says. There's questions.
Now, as far as the other wild cards are concerned, what's the score right now? What the hell's going on here? Oh, Giants just pulled ahead.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, boy.
What's it, 6-3?
7-3.
Uh-oh.
So,
I wonder who scored.
I mean, do you think that the loser of this, assuming they don't tie, I don't even want to
that would suck so bad.
I don't even want to think about that. Assuming they don't tie, but the loser of this game will get beat out by either Seattle or Detroit. I mean, I don't think Seattle's making it at this point. As good as a story as they have been this season, I don't think they're making it.
No, I think they'd have to win out.
Yeah, they really have not looked good lately at all, and
they've really started to fall apart. I think teams have finally figured out what really it is. I think they've had injuries in the run game. I think early in the season it was like the Giants. It was the magical story and stuff, but now reality kind of hits.
Yeah, and they have to go to Arrowhead next week, so the possibilities of them winning out are rough.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, you never know. It's the Chiefs. I don't trust the Chiefs.
This is such a bizarre schedule. Everyone has one game that is either a guaranteed win or a guaranteed loss, and then everything else is a crapshoot.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, Detroit has the Carolina game, Chicago, and the Packers. That's very, very, very winnable. A very, very plausible win-out scenario.
Yeah.
Because if Carolina plays like they did today, there's no way they're beating Detroit. Chicago's abysmal. I don't know how they covered it against Philadelphia.
Here's the problem with Chicago, though. If everything aligns right and Fields can run, they got a good chance to win. They've proven that. So Chicago's a toss in a weird way.
Yeah. A toss for no other reason than the fact that it's a divisional opponent.
Exactly.
And then, of course, Packers just hanging around.
They're hanging around nowhere, dude. They're 5-8. They suck. They're not going anywhere. It's over. It's over. Aaron Rodgers can be the greatest all he wants. He ain't doing nothing. He ain't making the playoffs with a losing record. He's not Tom Brady.
That's great.
Only Tom Brady can do that. Why he's
And,
the GOAT. That's why he's the GOAT.
And Charlie Whitehurst.
Charlie Whitehurst. He was so cool. I really wish he had done better in the league. He was cool. I liked him.
Well, sir, you got another road game. You got a road game next week, so we'll do this again.
Yes, I'm back. I'm here. January 1st is our last home game, so I will be there to see. I got to see what the fiasco will be. I think it's a 1 o'clock. Is it a 1 o'clocker? It might be a 1 o'clocker.
It's a 1 o'clock, I think. So you
So,
got a few hours to get home. That'll be okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Like an hour and a half shouldn't be too bad. Oh, if it's anything like tonight, dude, I'm leaving at like the third quarter. I got no time. I'm not. No. I'm honest. I'm keeping it real. Keeping it real.
That's right.
Keeping it real.
If Sam Darnold shits on your chest, you don't want to see none of that.
Shoot, man. I'll pop him in the head too. Sam Darnold. No, I'm kidding. Much respect to Sam Darnold. He's in the league. Can't totally rack on him. But I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting. Like I said, the finish to this season is gonna be interesting. You just kind of have to just see where all the chips fall. It's easy to say everything is going to kind of play out where it is now, but I think the next week or two, I think something may drastically change. You never know, but I've got a feeling something may shake a little.
Yeah. Well,
sir, it's been an honor and a privilege.
Have a Merry Christmas.
Yes. Yeah. Well, no. Christmas is what? Christmas is Sunday, right?
It's Sunday.
It'll be Sunday. So are we doing so? We're gonna be here.
We might have to do 2 shows next week because everyone's playing on Saturday.
There's Saturday games, I believe, too. There's like 1 game on Saturday, I believe.
Everyone's playing on Saturday.
Oh yeah, that's right.
There's a triple header. There's a triple header on Sunday because the league said screw basketball.
Yeah, that's right. They said we're coming for the NBA.
Yeah, there's a triple header on Sunday.
That's right.
Everybody plays on Saturday.
Good Lord. Jeez. Football's work, man.
That's right.
Good golly, man. Give me a break.
It's awful.
It really is. And I was thinking, and I was sitting there and I was looking, and I forgot that this year the draft's in Kansas City. I was like, I was like, maybe I'll go to Kansas City.
Watch the heir apparent get crowned.
Could be interesting.
It's either Jimmy G or someone to get drafted.
Who knows, man? I just go there. Hopefully someone gets traded and just cry my sorrows in beer.
That's right.
That's what it's all about.
I'll see you on Christmas Eve.
Yes, sir. Happy holidays.
Later.
Bye-bye.